we'll discuss AI and brand reputation, disinformation, and deepfakes. I'll introduce our panelists and then come back as usual for Q&A at the end. I'd like to welcome David Bar-Aharon, Global Director of Private Sector at Cyabra. Welcome, David. I'll let you take it away.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Very excited to be here. Like discussed, we will be going over AI, brand perception, disinformation, and deepfakes, how this affects your brand, PR agencies dealing with crises on a daily basis, and how to really kind of look through the space of mis and disinformation on social media, some tips and tricks on dealing with these and being preemptive, and really being able to sift through the data and understanding what's going on. What I'll start with first is a quick representation of how fast and easy it is to create fake accounts. And I'll be using a quick video to portray this, and with the help of ChatGPT, how easy it is to create an impersonating account of a profile on Facebook. The sad and scary truth is that it is very easy to today connect AI models and create thousands of bot farms using the method that I'm going to show you right now. So take a look for this video, and then we'll go into some examples. So basically here we're showing what are the most common names for a Russian 35-year-old female. And we see Tatiana Petrov looking for people named Tatiana on Facebook, finding an account and starting to take the images, copying those images, saving them in order to build a fake account using those images, creating a Gmail account, opening a Facebook, obviously profile, changing the date to make it look like it's an authentic date based on the age, uploading a profile image, and then starting to build credibility. So uploading that image of obviously a trip that this woman went on, and changing the date to make it look like it happened a while ago. So there's a timeline on your profile. This is obviously very easy to do. Then writing 10 different social media posts of a 29-year-old Russian who likes to hike. And ChatGPT, everyone is very familiar, knows how to do this pretty quickly. And lastly, and this ties everything together, how to buy fake friends and followers and likes. This is something that is extremely easy to do. It's a video of 1 minute basically, but this takes minutes to actually create. And like I said before, the scary truth is this is a very manual way of doing this, but there are methodologies behind the scenes today and organizations that are creating thousands, if not tens of thousands, fake accounts that are all pushing forward certain narratives around your brand, and are supported by these LLMs and GPTs and clouds of the world that are pushing forward certain narratives to hurt your reputation. My name is David Bar-Aharon. I'm the Global Director of Private Sector for Cyabra. Cyabra deals with helping governments and organizations deal with mis and disinformation and staying preemptive. The company is split into public sector, which is the more kind of intuitive maybe use case when it comes to mis and disinformation. The majority of the people when speaking about mis and disinformation think about international election meddling and targeted campaigns around political figures. The truth of the matter is that actually the private sector is also very much impacted by this. And I'll show you examples today when looking at mis and disinformation campaigns against private brands, boycotts, how geopolitical issues actually tie into private brands as well and hurt the brand reputation. These fake accounts and coordinated behavior is just as prominent in the private sector as it is in the public sector. And I'll show you examples of that today. So like I showed before in that animation or that screen share, we're seeing that the barriers of creating fake actors, mimicking human behavior, and generating authentic content have reached an all-time low. We like to call this the Cyabra ABCs. So the ABCs are basically actors, behaviors, and content. So when looking at this huge landscape and threat that is becoming one of the largest threats in the world, and is deemed as one of them as well, we want to look at it as the lens of actors, behaviors, and content. What does that actually mean? So the ABCs, let's start with A. For actors, we're looking at, is the account that is actually speaking about your brand, your CEO, your products, whatever it may be, is that account real or fake? it is extremely important to understand if the source is coming from a real, authentic consumer, that is your consumer of your products, and is your actual is someone that actually you want to listen to, or is this completely a fabricated account and a fake person that wants to spread negative sentiment towards your brand and hurt your reputation? So that's on the actor level, understanding the source and where it's coming from, regardless of what they're saying is real or fake in terms of factually true. We want to know the source. Next is moving on to behaviors. How are these accounts acting together? Whether they're real accounts, fake accounts, are they all created on the exact same day in order to push forward a certain narrative? Are they all pushing the exact same hashtag and boycott against your brand? Are they all deciding with one side, whether it's DEI or LGBTQ rights, and against the other side? What's the actual behavior that's happening with these accounts? Again, whether they're real or fake. And then lastly is the content. Content is extremely important to understand what they're saying. So whether that's generated text, so generated by AI, manipulated images and deep fakes, any source of content. We're looking at sentiment, topic modeling, really understanding what the actual content is. And then with that lens on top of the behaviors that are happening behind the scenes, and is it coming from a real or fake person? That's the first step in understanding any campaign and any analysis you do around your brand: the actors, the behaviors, and the content. It's not only us that are saying this, of course. This is the World Economic Forum deemed disinformation as the #1 global risk facing humanity, as well as Gartner when looking into what corporations will be spending over the next few years. Close to $500 billion will be spent on disinformation security by brands and by governments around the world. When looking at disinformation and kind of how it hits different in 2025, we're seeing so many ways where disinformation can be tied into your brand specifically, and where is the classic breeding ground for fake accounts to join the conversation. These are a few examples, and I'll go through them, but what do we do when fake profiles infiltrate online discussions, damaging your reputation, and something that has taken you years to build, of course. So we'll start with just business decisions. So an easy example is, this is when companies take a stand on a maybe controversial issue that is not liked by everyone. This is where bots really like to join in the conversation and amplify negative narratives around the brand. So we can take examples such as Bud Light or Target, where fake accounts joining the conversation with far-right views, trying to hurt the reputation of the brand and amplify negative narratives and fake narratives around these organizations, just for taking a, let's just say, controversial stand on something going on right now. We have geopolitical issues and geopolitical events happening around the world. This is actually where many brands don't have control over this. You have brands that are swept into geopolitical issues that they didn't even take a stand in originally. They didn't even mention that they're on a certain side or never posted about it on any public forum. But this, again, is a place for fake accounts to just assume that these brands that they want to attack are siding with a certain country in a conflict and trying to push forward narratives to create more boycotts and more brand reputation harm. The last one, and this is probably the most prominent one that we're seeing recently, is a new tactic that we see fake accounts pushing forward. And the list goes on for all the tactics. This is just a few examples. We're seeing hashtag hijacking. What does that mean, actually? It means that fake accounts are taking your brand name. So let's just take Rip Curl or Target or Walmart as an example. And they're infiltrating or creating a negative hashtag, so boycott Rip Curl, putting that inside a viral tweet of maybe Elon Musk or Trump or any conversation that is very big now on social media. It can be from Taylor Swift to any influencer that is posting about something that's going on. And in the comment section, inputting your brand name with a boycott or with something negative as a hashtag in the attempt to create engagement from these viral topics that are going on and push forward negative sentiment. This is many times teams that are looking on social media and social listening tools, look through this data and are sure that they're under attack, but it's actually just a completely fabricated mis and disinformation campaign and negative campaign to try to push negative narratives towards you. And they're doing that by hijacking trending issues and tying your name into those topics. At Cyabra here today, and basically what we've been doing for companies and governments around the world for over 6 years, we uncover those threats to companies, products, people, and places, analyze the billions of conversations taking place. And like I said about the ABCs, we're exposing the manipulative actors, their deceptive behaviors, and the harmful content in our everyday social media lives, whether that is on the actual text that they're writing, images that they're uploading, or deepfakes that are being used to spread harm. What does that actually look like when it comes to real brands? So I'm going to show you a few case studies, and then I'm going to walk you through some of the tips of how to deal with these types of threats and this kind of new realm of mis and disinformation on social media. This is a classic example of, it's a very actionable one and a very black and white one. So we found that 65% of the accounts engaging with Google support. So Google support is basically all the accounts tagging Google on their Twitter account and asking for support, whether it's for their phone, for their Gmail account. As a good company should, and as a support of a company like Google should, they want to make sure that they're dealing with all of the support and tracking these issues and making sure they're dealing with them on a timely basis. 65% of the accounts tagging them were fake, and Google is answering almost all of them. Automatically, they're probably answering them with an automatic response, but not realizing it, they're amplifying their narratives even further. And these accounts are all pushing forward negative narratives. Many of them are saying that they have been hacked, that their Gmail has been hacked. They're saying that their phone was lost and they forgot their password in a phishing attempt. Let's put aside the fact that this is a phishing attempt and that they're trying to push forward maybe ways for Google to send them a verification code to hack into someone else's account, which is a whole nother issue. You actually have the official account of Google, which is a verified account, answering fake accounts and spending times and resources actually amplifying their narratives further. You can see here on these posts that I share, 55% or 55 comments are actually on a fake account's post. That's a very high number. 26% or 26 comments, 41 comments. This is all because a verified account of Google was infiltrating into the conversation and amplifying them even further, unknowingly. Another example is Netflix, and this is where geopolitical issues and what I brought up before in terms of brands being swept into a geopolitical issue that they never even intended to. We found this with Netflix, where the former CEO and the founder of Netflix decided to donate to Kamala Harris's campaign. We saw a massive boycott coming in, grew over 300% as the company was wrongfully accused of taking a political stance. And when looking at the data, we found that 1 in 4 accounts, which is 25% of the accounts attacking Netflix on social media, were actually fake. And the hashtags that they were pushing forward were cancel Netflix and hashtag boycott Netflix. These are 2 hashtags that started from fake actors, from fake coordinated bot farms. And then real actors or real people came into the scenario and into this conversation on social media, thinking this is a trending topic and something that, they want to be part of this trend, and uploaded images that they've successfully canceled their Netflix account. This is not at all something that Netflix saw coming. And of course, the amplification of fake accounts created much more of a hype around it, gaining real people to come into the conversation as well, and agreeing with their point of view. Another case study is around Disneyland, where fake accounts were uploading generated images of floods in Disney World and saying that they were temporarily closed. The 90% of the data, when we looked into it, was actually coming from fake accounts who were engaging with these posts, reposting them themselves, and wanting to push forward this narrative. Now, not only is this this has reputational damage, it also has physical damage. This could cause, obviously, real people to maybe cancel their flights or think that their trip to Disney World is canceled. or not even go call the hotels, whatever it may be. This affects a lot of things internally for a company like Disney World, and fake images and deep fakes and fake content and narratives is something that brands like Disney need to stay on top of course, to make sure that they don't get amplified even further. And if they do, come out with a statement to make sure that this is fabricated information. So how do we stay on top of all of these threats? One of the most important features, or one of the most important parts of the service that we do and our clients use on a daily basis is our alert service. So when looking into kind of the conversations on social media, it's very important to understand if there's been an uptick in the amount of fake accounts that are speaking about your brand, your CEO, your product, whatever is important for you or is an asset within the company. Are fake accounts beginning to speak about it? I'll give a perfect example where we found that there were almost 1,000 fake accounts, all saying that Google is funding the Russia invasion in Ukraine. All of these 1,000 fake accounts received maybe on aggregate 3 likes. That means that it didn't really get to the mainstream viral media or social media, and real people haven't taken this conspiracy theory and continued with it. The more important thing here, though, is for PR individuals or professionals and PR firms and crisis and comms teams. A big part of the position is also looking into scenario building and understanding how these scenarios might come up and what are the possible places where we can get attacked on social media. And knowing ahead of time that there are coordinated efforts to try to push forward a certain narrative around your brand, and trying to push forward a certain narrative around the fact that your company is funding a war in Ukraine, you can start preparing ahead of time and in advance for the counter campaign and coming out with a statement if this becomes something that's more mainstream. So staying ahead of those threats and understanding what these fake accounts are doing before they become a crisis is extremely important, and something that basically all of our clients are doing on an ongoing basis. What do you do when you face a crisis? So there's a framework that we've built, and I'll take you through it today. But like I said, number one is detection. So you want to understand the full picture. Is the conversation on social media actually harmful? Is it how many bots are in the conversation? Who is real and who is fake? Is the crisis as big as it appears? Is the negative sentiment being spread by fake accounts or real accounts? When looking at the conversation, many times we look at brands where the fake conversation is actually being spread by 90% fake accounts. The negative conversation is being spread by 90% fake accounts. And when looking at this data, knowing who your real consumers are and who your real customers are, and if they're as well spreading negative sentiment is extremely important. So it's great to filter through that noise and detect what is actually going on. And then you have a choice to do the following. It's ignore, monitor, or engage. And I'll show you what the strategies are for each of them. So when I say ignore, that means the exact example of Google and Russia and Ukraine. You found these 1,000 fake accounts or maybe 10,000 fake accounts that are spreading fake news or angry voices around your product or whatever it may be. You want to look into understanding if they're real and fake. That's the first step. After that is understanding, should I actually come out with a campaign or go to traditional media sources to try to change the narrative about what they're saying on social media before spending time and money on these actual counter campaigns? It's very important to understand if these fake accounts have even received any credibility on social media. Have they has the narrative that they've pushed forward been picked up by real accounts? That's something that's very important to understand before, because if it hasn't, using your resources to create counter campaigns is actually counterintuitive. It actually amplifies the fake accounts more. That's what they wish for. They're created just for the day for the real accounts and trusted media sources to come out with a article and speak about the narrative that they're trying to push forward. So many times it's better to ignore. After that is monitor. So understanding on a daily basis what are the scenarios and what are the fake narratives that are being pushed around your brand is extremely important. And sometimes these narratives start to trickle into authentic conversations where hashtags that were created by fake accounts are starting to be used by real accounts, maybe a few dozen or a few hundred, but it's still not viral enough to affect your company and your reputation. This is where you want to monitor and really keep track of what's going on and get notified when there's upticks in fake activity and real accounts interacting with fake accounts and really believing in their misinformation. And then the final approach, and this is when really it's time to respond and come out with a statement, whether you're a publicly traded company that wants to say that you were under attack by a mis and disinformation campaign in order to change the narrative, or work towards actually removing the fake accounts on social media and working with companies like ours and many others to really take down these accounts that are spreading negative sentiment around your brand. These are the kind of the framework that we use with many of our clients, and the PR agencies we work with and the crisis agencies, they use the detect, ignore, monitor, and engage, of course, the respond and react framework in order to deal with all of these kind of threats on social media. So as a wise man once said, don't believe everything you read on the internet, of course, and I'm very happy to jump into questions and anything that you guys ask around how we do what we do, any other threats to your brand. I'm happy to jump into it. Thank you for listening.
Thanks so much, David. So we do have a question here from Kari. I'm not sure how to say that. She's asking, are you able to pinpoint locations of where these fake accounts are being generated from?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So the fake organizations that create, or the fake accounts that are created by these organizations, work very hard in order to make sure that they're not caught. Even if we do give you a location of where this fake account is coming from, and we do that based on publicly available information, it's very hard to pinpoint who funded this, where this actually came from. And what we do at Cyabra is we really understand kind of where these foreign actors and campaigns are coming from, patterns that each country uses, and also against brands. And we give you educated guesses. But at the end of the day, we can't give you an exact address of where these fake accounts are coming from. It's very difficult to do that, of course, and they're very good at hiding.
Mm-hmm. We have another question about tools. So I'm assuming Cyabra is one of these, but question is, what tools can organizations use for proactive threat detection and real-time monitoring? Is there a group of tools? Are there different types of tools?
Yeah. So I think the first step is obviously traditional social listening tools and staying on top of what are people saying about your brand. Many organizations have this in place, or use a PR agency that has these tools in place. When it comes to really the threats on social media and the things that I shared today, obviously tools like Cyabra are the way to go in terms of being proactive. Many tools today deal with more looking at the narrative after it's already become a narrative. We don't believe in that approach. We want to actually look at even that one lone wolf fake account that is trying to push forward a narrative, catching that before it becomes viral, and making sure that the brands and the agencies know ahead of time.
We have another question for you from Trevor. What size does your company need to be before this is something they should truly be concerned about? I imagine it's mostly large international brands, but should small companies be concerned also?
Yeah, so this is a great question, and it comes up a lot. Many small brands believe that they aren't potential threats of mis and disinformation campaigns. Of course, the large Coca-Colas of the world and international brands are always attacked on a daily basis by fake news. But we found with many of our clients, from local banks to paper manufacturing companies that aren't that large at all, they're many times attacked by Greenpeace bots, by different accounts trying to spread negative sentiment towards their CEO. You never know when and what the motives are behind the scenes for your company to be attacked. we recently helped a small hospital in Arizona that was pushing forward that we found narratives around their CEO that were completely fabricated. And this was just a whole campaign around a hospital with about 100 employees. So it could hit on every level.
Mm-hmm. Another question. What are the expected future counters to these kinds of crises? Will there be true verification from social account development to manage bot-based misinformation?
So that is the dream for Cyabra, of course, and for I think any company dealing with this. I think the social media companies are comfortable right now um, with the sense that the fake accounts are also supporting their business model when it comes to selling ads. It doesn't really matter if a real person saw your ad or if a fake person saw your ad. So we're, as much as we want to partner with them and work with them to really find these fake accounts and disinformation campaigns and help brands and governments sift through the noise, this is something that is going to be done more in the private sector from brands like Cyabra and companies like Cyabra, and hopefully will be adopted by the social media platforms with time. But that's the main goal.
I just had a thought. I mean, there's less moderation rather than more moderation these days, right, with social media platforms. So it seems like that's getting pushed even further into our future, perhaps.
Yes, it seems like there's less moderation. The the goal of organizations and think tanks and obviously any company dealing with stopping mis and disinformation is market education as well, showing the world that this actually exists. Whether you're sifting through Twitter or X or Facebook or TikTok, whatever it may be, after this webinar, thinking twice around the actor, who that person really is when you're reading their comment and going to their profile and seeing if there is an agenda behind the scenes. These are the things that we can do right now to help you really sift through the data and understand if this is factually real or fake, of course. But it takes a big effort and an army of companies to push this forward.
Mm-hmm. In your view, are you seeing many more deep fakes, for example, being produced by AI? I know that um, people were duped by some of the examples that we've all seen go viral of an executive
Yeah.
making speech or saying something. I mean, are consumers a little bit more savvy, or are you seeing the tools getting better? Like, what are your thoughts on and how that affects brand reputation?
Yeah, so in terms of deepfake videos, I still think that humans today have a great eye and understanding if a video is real or fake when it comes to kind of humans, and some part of the video might be a little bit off and you get a sense for it. When it comes to
Mhm.
images, and they're only improving and they're going to get better and indistinguishable very, very soon. Many of them that are more expensive in creating are actually indistinguishable in general right now. But for images, we're seeing that already happening. It really is difficult to understand if an image is real or fake, and that's why again tools that exist today that can detect if an image is AI generated or if a video is AI generated is extremely important for organizations to have that capability to verify.
Mhm. Wonderful. Well, that's all the time that we have today, David. I appreciate you presenting this presentation, and these frameworks will be very useful for people. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
We'll see you all at the next session in just a few minutes.